What made you go into space and being an astronaut? What motivated you?
So when I was young, I watched the Apollo missions on old film that my
Mm-hmm.
grandfather had. And so I think that was kind of the first spark that got me interested in space. But before I came to NASA, I was a school teacher in Florida. And I thought that was going to be
The
a
end all be
career
all.
that I was happy doing that. Teaching is the most important job ever.
Mm-hmm.
But then I saw an opportunity where NASA wanted to hire some educators, and I said, I've always wanted to be an astronaut, and it was very exciting. And if you don't try, you can't get selected. So yeah, I applied for the job, and luckily here I am.
The rest is history.
Yeah,
Would you tell me a little bit about your experience in space?
being in space is awesome. I tell people, I was talking to some kids this morning, and I say, if you have an opportunity to go to space, you want to go, because it's an amazing experience. The body adapts very quickly, and
Yeah.
so you feel like we were born to go to space. And then of course you have the view of the earth that is just simply amazing, that you can't get anywhere else. But being part of the science that's why we're there to conduct science. And so being a small part of that history is cool.
How is that feeling? Do you have a word that you can describe by looking from, you looking at the from space at the Earth?
Yeah, here I would say brutal. It is incredible, but it's incredible.
Yeah.
When you see the earth for the first time, it takes your breath away.
I imagine that there's a lot of people that, they think that the Earth is still flat.
There are people that think that, and I can tell them that I've gone around the earth and it is not flat.
That's hilarious.
I'm sure of that.
Do you recall something from like looking at Earth and that maybe impacted you the most?
Yeah, we were talking earlier today that on my last mission, I was there during Hurricane Maria that, came over the island. And so I was able to see it, from space. And when you see it from space, it looks very beautiful.
Yeah.
This kind of natural phenomenon that's out there.
Yeah.
But then that there are people, living and suffering underneath this. And so having family and friends here, it was very difficult. And once it passed over, the island that you can usually see from space that's very well lit up was dark, all of the time.
Yeah.
But it was nice to see that at the end of that mission, about 6 months later, that, once again, you could start to see it from space, so you knew things were getting better.
So for how long were you in space?
That one was about 6 months.
6 months. Wow.
Total, I have a little over 300 days in space.
300 days. So personal question, I believe, but how do you maintain your humanity when you're in space?
The humanity is not something you lose by leaving Earth. That's, who we are. But NASA does a good job of keeping us in contact, with our families. Of course, we're talking to the different mission control centers around the world.
Yeah.
But when you see the Earth from space, if anything, it almost reinforces that humanity. So it is not something you lose just because you leave the planet.
It's not like what you see in movies.
You don't lose your humanity when you leave the Earth. It stays with you.
That's amazing. So you do keep in contact with your family and close friends while you're in missions.
You do. We have an opportunity to do a video conference with your immediate family at least once a week. We have the best telephone in that you can call anybody in the world, but they can't call you. So it's great. It's a one-way communication. And every mission, it gets better.
The communication.
You're still remote, but you can stay in good contact with family and friends.
Family and friends have to make sure they pick up that call if they can't call
that's-
back.
But some people like it because now they have that message on their phone.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how many times you call somebody, they don't recognize the phone number, so they don't pick it up, and they're like, oh, I missed the phone call,
Yeah.
but they have a nice message.
That's nice. So you were selected to be chief of astronauts as well. How does that make you feel? How has been the experience?
It's an honor to be selected into that job. There haven't been many of us from the beginning of the space program. Being the first person of color to hold that position is, I think, a good symbol, for what people can do. So, again, everything I do, I'm hoping it is serving as, kind of a role model for students to look at and go, man, if Joe can do it, that's a possibility for
Yeah.
me. And so it's an important job, and I feel like there's a lot I can contribute. So far so good.
Making history.
Making history.
And I think my last question is, how does it make you feel to represent? We were already talking that being a man of color, representing PR in such a big scale.
It's been great because, and I think we were talking earlier, maybe that I was born in California. My parents were born here.
Yeah.
Went to New York, ended up in California, and ever since I was selected, the island has just been super supportive, have embraced me, have supported me throughout all of my missions. So it is really an honor for me to be able to give back to the community that has supported me over so many years. And, I try to come back and do educational activities with different organizations that are here. And, as a Latino, that's what we do. We have to support each other and help each other move forward.